For our final project, we researched parasites. This slideshow is by Annabelle Platt and Lily Ehler. So first, what are parasites? They are organisms that live attached to or in a host cell, and they receive food from that host cell and live off of it for most of their life. And as you can see, there are many different shapes and sizes of parasites, so they may look like bugs or worms. There are 3 different types of parasites, and the first one is protozoa. They're unicellular and microscopic, and they can be parasitic to nature or free-living. The protozoa multiply at very fast rates, and they're transmitted through contaminated water, food, or fecal matter. There are also different shapes and sizes, like all parasites, so one may look like a worm while the other doesn't. The second type of parasites are helminths, and they are multicellular like protozoa, but they are present to the naked eye during adult stages, so they're not microscopic, and they can be parasitic to nature or free-living. And during their adulthood, they cannot multiply in humans. And these are some examples of helminths, and they look more like worms. The last type of parasite are ectoparasites, and they are parasites that attach themselves onto a host and bite the host to infect them. Then they will suck their blood. Examples of ectoparasites are mites, fleas, ticks, and lice. These are very common in our everyday lives, and they're also arthropods. And these parasites look more like bugs. They do not look like the typical parasite, like protozoa or helminths. The life cycle of parasites can be different between parasites because one can be indirect or direct. So the life cycle usually takes place inside the host cell, and this cycle can divide into 3 stages. The first one is phases of growth, and then reproduction, and finally transmission. And it then can be further split into 2 categories, which is direct and indirect. Parasites with a direct life cycle live in the host cell for most of their adult life, and this is called the parasitic stage, and they reproduce in that host. And direct parasites are called simple parasites because they live in one place. And indirect parasites are called complex parasites because they live in many different hosts throughout their lifetime. Here I provided 2 examples of an indirect and direct life cycle. Obviously, the first life cycle is longer than the second because it's indirect and the parasite travels to more places throughout its lifetime, and the direct, it takes place in one place. Some more specific types of parasites, human and helminth parasites. One is Chagas disease, and that affects the blood, muscle, nerves, heart, esophagus, and colon. And it's transmitted by an insect bite, and it can lead to disease. One of the pictures shows a symptom of this disease, and that's swelling to the eyes. And then another parasite is gnathostomiasis, and that causes swelling under the skin, and it affects the liver, eyes, and nervous system. It's rare but can be fatal, and it usually occurs in Southeast Asia. It's transmitted by eating freshwater fish, pigs, snails, frogs, and chicken. And the picture to the right shows swelling under the skin of a man. 2 other parasites include babesiosis and amoebiasis.